Adopt, don't shop. Hey guys, welcome back to The Vegan View. So today we have a very special guest. We have Natalie, founder of Maeday Rescue.
Hello.
And that is a rescue that is very near and dear to my heart because I adopted my dog Archie 4 years ago from Maeday, and he's the love of my life. Literally, yes. And I have also been able to foster a few times for you, which has been amazing. And actually recently, NISHA and I both fostered for Maeday. So we are so excited to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too because this is not specifically like a vegan issue, we know, but it has to do with animal welfare and animal rights, and we thought it would be a really pertinent subject to discuss whether to adopt or shop and the benefits of fostering and getting your dog from a rescue.
Yes.
Can you tell our audience what the difference between fostering and adopting is?
Yes, so fostering, you're not fully committing to the dog. So you're just basically opening your home up. So the dog has a place to hang out, sleep, has love while it's looking for its forever home.
Right.
And every rescue works differently, but the way we work is we pay for everything. So you literally just, don't lose the dog and give it love. And, we pay for medical, we pay for food, supplies. So you're just kind of like dog sitting for free. And volunteering your time.
Awesome. Yeah. I get so many people writing to me and they're like, oh, I wish I could just rent a dog for like a week, and I'm just like, foster. Yeah. It's so fun. And they just need a place. Like when we go to the shelter, it's so sad. And they're there shivering and shaking in these cages, and they just need a place to hang out until they find their forever home.
Especially the 2 dogs you guys got, like they were in the shelter scared, and so I think a lot of people don't want to get those dogs because they don't know what they're getting, and obviously there's no history on them, so people think of a shelter environment as being scary and like, what if they get an aggressive dog or all these things. But fortunately there's like so much help out there these days, so with us we do have a trainer on hand, but they got these 2 dogs that were scared, and then once they got home and had love, they blossomed.
Big
on
time.
Croissant's sheet, it said, Croissant's the dog I fostered, hilarious name. It said too shy in like huge letters above her name, and she was not shy at all. She was just not doing well in this scary setting where like dogs are barking, there's weird smells, like it's loud.
People are walking by looking at you in a cage.
People are like examining you. Like it's scary.
Yeah.
Dogs are being pulled out and taken somewhere. They don't know where they
Don't know where they're going.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And they just really just needed to get out of that environment. Like the dog that I rescued didn't even have a name.
Yeah.
Literally, they didn't even have a name. They didn't know anything about her. Yeah. And she wouldn't even walk up to the front of the crate. She was just like curled up in the corner, scared. And I knew that an average person looking to adopt a dog was not going to take that dog out of the shelter. So really all they needed was just to know that they were safe. And that's it. Yeah. So that's fostering. So adopting.
Yes. So adopting is adopting, what the word means. So it's now your dog and you're responsible for it. But there is a difference of, adopting from a rescue and buying from a breeder, which I think people get confused about because a lot of people want a specific breed for whatever reason. It's mainly, I think the reason is they saw a cute picture on Instagram. So now they're like, I want this breed. Yep. But people usually don't look into what that breed, it has a lot of breeds are specifically prone to
certain
health problems, diseases, just issues like that. So people buy these dogs for a lot of money, and then they realize that they can't afford the health things, or they just got a puppy and didn't even really understand what having a puppy means.
Right.
So point is, a lot of these dogs end up in the shelter anyway, so you can find any kind of breed from the shelter. There are also specific rescues, like there's a golden retriever rescue, there's like there's a Frenchie rescue, like you can find them. But, buying from a breeder just means like you're literally adding to more life on the planet when there's already hundreds of dogs dying a day in the shelter. So you're taking that home space up for a dog that could have come from the shelter. You're buying it from a breeder just because you like the look. I don't know. That's selfish to me. Just saying.
Yeah, it's just kind of like animal agriculture. We're artificially creating like massive numbers of animals that shouldn't really even exist because we want something from them. Right. And same thing with breeding. We're like artificially creating a population of dogs that shouldn't really exist because we want one that's like golden, or does that one come in black? Like, it's a living thing, know?
And I think like most people who have a dog, they like understand that no matter what your dog looks like, you're going to love it.
Right.
Like
of course.
It's this kind of selfish thing that you do when you first get a dog, that you're like, oh, I want to look like this. This is what I have envisioned.
It'll look good on my Instagram.
Yeah, looking cute in my outfit photos and things like that. Like, but once you actually have a dog, it's so much more than that. They're a living creature. They have a personality. They have quirks. They have needs. They have health issues. Like, people are just looking at the looks, and it's so much more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
When I got Croissant, I thought she looked like a weird baby dinosaur. Like, I brought her home, and Jesse was like, she's funny looking. Yeah. And then by the time we gave her away, we were like, she's the most beautiful dog we've ever seen.
Right. Of course, you're going to fall in love with it. I mean, it's like a kid. You can't, like, pick your child. So I'm sure you're like, I hope my kid's super pretty. Let's be real. All newborns are like not pretty. But, like, by day 2, but by day 2, clearly you're not going to be like, I'm going to give my child up that I just cooked for 9 months. Like, no, you get what you get. Yeah, right. I've given away 7 kids now. But, like, it's like you can't get what you, like, it's all about just the soul energy to me. And, you know, and going back to what you said, which I love that you said this, that, like, we are just creating this life that's taking that up. But that's a thing. Like, Frenchies actually are, unless I'm pretty sure this is the right information. I have talked to a breeder about this, but Frenchie females can't give birth on their own. Yeah, they actually have to have a C-section because the head won't fit through their tiny little, because their head's huge. So literally that wouldn't be a breed that exists. And unless Frenchie's used to do something as a job, I don't, like that's the thing.
They used to be like British royalty lapdogs.
Right, but they're not doing anything.
They don't do anything.
I'm not judging, like, if you're like a sheep farmer and you need like a collie, or like, you know, I have friends that are from the Midwest and there's literally no shelters around them, and so people have dogs on their farm and they give them to that's totally different story. But when you live in a big city where we literally kill hundreds of dogs a day, I just don't understand why you would buy from a breeder.
Exactly.
Like LA, San Francisco, Atlanta, Chicago, Houston, like New York, like it just makes zero sense.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
A lot of people they have a misconception, I think, as well. Like, they think, okay, I didn't buy from a breeder per se, but I found a dog on Craigslist, or my friend's had a
really good breeder.
Yeah. Right. Or they think they're a good breeder. So
I mean, obviously there's different stories on every side, but like, I mean, you're still supporting it. Yeah. Like, it's like now in LA, it's illegal to sell dogs in a pet store, right? Because a lot of them came from puppy mills. So I think same thing. People see, you know, you saw a dog in a pet store and you were like, it was running in its own poop and it was so scary and it looked so sad. So I saved it from that situation, which, yes, you saved that one dog from that situation, but by buying that, you're supporting the whole industry.
Right.
So, you know,
breeders wouldn't have an excuse to breed if they didn't make money off of it.
Right. Yeah. So it's literally supply and demand. Yeah. And so, I mean, so same thing with like Craigslist. You don't really know where that dog's coming from, and, you know, so yeah, it's basically like you just have to, I mean, shelter is literally the way to go.
Yeah.
Every dollar, sorry.
No, go for it. I keep interrupting you.
We're just like so excited. I just think that every dollar you're spending is an investment towards something you believe in. So why wouldn't you put your earned money into something that is investing in like rehabilitating and saving animals versus contributing to a problem?
Right.
So I want to talk more about fostering because NISHA and I just fostered. We're super jazzed about it, and honestly feel like I feel like it's the best experience of my life.
When you do something that kind of steps outside of yourself, like fostering or volunteering somewhere, it really puts into perspective what's important in life and that there are other people and living things out there.
Yeah. It's about being a part of something bigger than yourself, and I feel like so many people say, I would love to foster, but I could never say goodbye. And I think every foster you probably work with, it's hard to say goodbye.
Yeah, it is. I think people, I mean, half say that and half don't, because I think you have to know going into it.
The bigger picture.
The bigger picture, you have to know that. I mean, obviously, I think it's easier if you already have dogs.
Yeah.
Because if you have, like with me, I have too many dogs. Like, I can't have extra dogs. I can't. And so I know that, and that's okay. But if you're like looking for a dog and you kind of know you want one eventually, that's when it's harder, because then you don't want to like let go, and you're like, wait, is that the one? I don't know, maybe the next one is, and like you can spin.
But for us, it was like, oh, we should definitely have a dog.
Right.
And like, we really were clear. It was like hard, of course, because when you come home, there's no dog there. It's always sad.
Right.
But it also made us very confident in our ability to have a dog and like continue fostering, because it was so rewarding, and it just really taught us something about like taking care of something outside of yourself.
Yeah.
And oh my God,
which is important to do.
That family that adopted Croissant is so freaking cute.
So
like,
cute. Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it worth it too, is like, Of course you're sad. Like Nisha and I both cried our eyes out when we had to say goodbye to our dogs.
Yeah.
Like it's sad. You bond with this animal. You see them at their lowest low, and then you get to see them like bloom into a dog that feels safe.
You.
Yeah. And like it's sad, but then it's all worth it once you find the perfect home for them. You get the updates. You hear how good they're doing. You see the pictures.
You sent us that video of her, and she was like a totally different dog from when you first met her, and she was so scared and so like retracted, and then she was playing with the dog, and it had only been a couple weeks. That turnover was really fast, and the change was remarkable, actually.
And you said something great earlier when we were talking off camera about how like of course it's hard to say goodbye, but would you rather the alternative be a dog die in the shelter?
Well, I mean, like you were saying, like people always have excuses of like, I don't have space, or I already have a dog, or, but I mean, literally if you put it in your bathroom, maybe that's not like ideal for it, but it's not dead.
That's,
so,
exactly.
I mean,
like we just moved, and so my boyfriend was like, are you sure it's good? Cause like our house is sort of like a mess still, like we haven't completely unpacked. And I was like, this dog is a dog that's in a shelter, like cowering in a corner, is going to feel so much more comfortable in a corner in a room with boxes, like with a warm bed than it ever would in the shelter. It's like never a perfect time.
It's never a perfect time. I mean, which is again the same thing I feel like when people say that they want children. It's the same thing. They're always like, let me plan this. I'm like, but if you like randomly got pregnant, you're going to figure it out. So same thing. It's like, just go get a dog. You're going to figure it out. If you're a capable person and you're responsible, like it's going to be fine.
They literally just want love.
Like you're so much stronger than you think, and getting a foster dog is not that hard.
And I mean, especially with Maeday, again, I mean, we have like a daycare that we work with. So if you like live, which you have to live in a specific neighborhood because it's too far for most people. But if you live in the neighborhood, you can take the dog there like during the day if you need to and stuff like that, which is great because so that's, I think, a lot of people's problem is like, I really want a dog, but like I work 8-hour days. So it's free. So you literally just sleep with it, feed it breakfast, feed it dinner.
And then you have a little buddy.
Right, and then you have a little buddy for a little bit.
And then you've changed someone's life. Like,
you've
given
the people
them a forever friend.
Yeah, you've changed the dog's life. You've changed the new adopter's life because you were the middle person. So, it's incredibly rewarding. I mean, I'm kind of addicted to it.
Yeah.
It's like my drug.
I feel. I was like, wow, we need to go and get some dogs from the show. I was like, Hannah, when are we doing this next?
Like, it's true. I feel like it's like a drug. I have a rescue friend of mine that like we can't go together anymore to the shelter because we'll like one up each other, and it's like we're literally getting a high where we're like sitting there, and I'm like, I'll get the one with one leg, and she's like, I'll get the no eyes, and I'm like, well then I'm gonna get the one with the tongue, and then we just like suddenly have like 20 dogs, and then we leave, and then it's like the high hits where then the reality is like, oh, what did I just do? And we look in the back seat, and I'm like there's one there's one eye between 9 dogs. What did I just do? But, and like the reality hits, and you're like, okay, I got to figure this out.
Funniest picture in my brain just being like, what's up, guys?
That's true. I've had like huge pit bulls that are like drooling in my face when I drive them from the car, but they're smiling, and I'm like, this dog could literally just like take out my neck on the freeway. But you just see how grateful they are, And that happened once. We went to the shelter, and no lie, I think there was 6 dogs, and there was 2 good eyes between the 6 dogs. Like one had no eyes at all. One had 2 legs. And I was like, I don't know what we're getting, but just the misfit toys. But it's like, and they're so grateful. And like when you just feel that gratitude.
Who wants them?
And you can find someone, which 100%. I think when I see like the people with the cute white fluffy puppies on Instagram, I get it. But I'm way more interested in like the tongue hanging out and like the old senior that's like, why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
It's
you can adopt a senior and literally make it an Instagram star.
I know.
And then get paid in sponsorship money.
And why wouldn't you do that? Reason you would want to do it.
My dog has no teeth, and he's cute AF. He has like his fangs, and we thought we might have to get those removed. And I thought his tongue was going to be completely hanging out.
He'd be so cute.
And it wasn't.
So
I was like a little sad.
Yeah.
Secretly.
You're like, true. Man, those Instagrams dollars.
It's true. I mean,
yeah. But there is something to be said about like the gratitude you get from rescue dogs. Like I swear they know forever and ever, and they'll never forget like what they went through, and that you are their forever home now, and they're so thankful.
And the best feeling is some dogs, I mean, I think it's if it's been a long time, like your dog Archie doesn't remember me now, and that's okay. But I have some.
I think he does.
It was a weird situation.
It was a lot going on. Puppies were chasing him.
There's some that like will come to our adoption events, and it almost takes a second. Like they're so overwhelmed, and they're like smelling everyone else, and then like they'll smell me and walk away, and then all of a sudden it's like it hits, and they turn around, and they just like lose their minds, and they'll like be kissing me, and like the people will be like, they don't do that to anyone, and like I literally like burst burst out crying.
Because you're the one who like saved them.
And it's like, it's the best feeling. Like they really remember. They're like, you're the person that was nice to me.
If you want a good cry, just YouTube. I mean, sometimes you have those days. Just YouTube like dog meeting foster mom again.
Cute.
And the videos.
Nice. I didn't even know that was a
thing.
I didn't know that was a thing
so
either.
Good. Yeah,
it's adorable.
My heart.
We should do a video on the YouTube videos we watch when we want to cry.
I haven't
seen like Oscar speeches. I'm not even an actress, but when people win Oscars, I'm like,
I would think of Nicole doing that though.
No, I like can't handle it. I'm like, I'm so proud of you.
You're like, their moms and dads must be.
They've wanted this their whole life. Okay, off topic. Sorry.
Hilarious. One thing about like the cost of it all, as well as I know a lot of people who have bought from a breeder or adopted off Craigslist or whatever, and they end up spending so much money in like medical bills when they first get the dog because they have problems. And what's so cool about like rescuing from a shelter or a rescue is that everything is pretty much paid for like ahead of time. Like there's shots, they're fixed, and you know, you pretty much know that you're getting a healthy dog, or if there are issues, you know about them ahead of time because you guys are super transparent about it, which is amazing.
I mean, not every rescue, I'm sure, because I have heard stories about stuff like that, but I mean, we try to be, because we're a small rescue, so we do like what we can, obviously, but I mean, I'm sure there's things like we can miss, but we do, like you're getting it from, like we take the dogs, so we're getting them from the shelter, so we take them to our vet, we get them looked over, we, you know, obviously they have their shots, they're fixed.
That's so important.
It's very important. Unless they're tiny puppies and like they're not old enough, but then we still have to get like proof of that when the owner, the adopter, you know, does that. So, but yeah, I mean, you're right. That's a big issue.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that getting from a shelter, like the dogs are there for a reason. Like they are either aggressive, they have problems.
It's not doggy jail.
Yeah,
it's
I didn't know people think that.
They think people take their dogs there for biting reasons, for being super aggressive. It's
Which again, I mean, that's the thing, because this is like the problem, which I've seen before, but it's like with anything. Like I think people can also be breedist, which is super true. 100%. Like there's like, you know, if a pit bull snaps, but you don't know what the reason was. Yeah. Like if a kid came up to me and was pulling my ear for 10 hours straight, and then I finally do a tiny warning but didn't actually do anything, and somebody sees that, and then they're like, oh, well now this could be really bad, so I'm just going to take the dog. And then they tell the people when they drop off, oh, he tried to bite someone. All they're going to label it is bite. You don't know the history, you don't know why, you don't know what provoked it. So now this dog on its cage just has bite on it, and bite history.
No one's going to want
it. And nobody's going to want to adopt it. So it's like these things get stacked against them when it's just their one experience. Like I got a dog once who's like the sweetest little senior, and her thing said bites, and I was like, what? And then I saw her when they were trying to take her out, and they were like, you know, being aggressive at the shelter, like trying to get her, so she's kind of like doing this because she was freaked out. And the second I held her, she's like the sweetest dog ever. But I'm like, I get that they have to put bite because in case something happens, they don't want to be liable. But it's like
good to know to try to see past that and like meet the dog outside of the shelter,
because you don't know what their triggers are. And so the point is like they're literally just getting this stuff stacked up against them, and there's like no one fighting for them. They don't have a voice. They can't tell like what happened. So it's just, it's super sad. But so you have to go learn about them yourself and see the shelter. But so a lot of people don't want to go to a shelter environment because it's difficult. So this is why you go to a rescue, because then the rescue, we do that work for you. We can go into the shelter. We're used to it. We know which dogs, you know, we know all the volunteers, so we can figure out which dog did great on this temperament test, which one likes cats, you know, to our best of our ability. And then we take them into foster homes, which means we now can learn if they're potty trained, and we get to learn more about them. So when you're getting a dog from a rescue, you're going to, you know, you're going to know somewhat of its history.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes people feel so much more comfortable.
Right.
What is the process from start to finish? Like if someone's like, you know what, I really want to go through fostering and then adopting, what is the process like?
Well, so if you want to adopt from us, we do like a 1-week trial. So first, you know, we're on Instagram. So most people, we don't have a facility. So, and again, every rescue is different, but we don't have a facility. So we're foster based in Los Angeles. So we have adoption events every once in a while, but mostly it's Instagram. So if somebody sees a picture that they like of a dog, they go to our website, they fill out an application, which are just basic questions to get to know them. Like, you know, how many hours are you gone? Can you take your dog to work? You know, what do you prefer as far as like shedding, temperament, whatever. And that way, if they fill out that form and they want a specific dog, but that dog is like hyper and loves hiking, but they want a cuddly old dog, I'm like, that doesn't really match you, but here's somebody that would. Or sometimes it's fine and they're like, we don't care, we love this dog, great. But so start with the application, and then once we approve the application, we set up a meet and greet. And they meet the dog, and sometimes we go to their house. It just depends on the situation, or like we'll meet at a park, or if we have an adoption event.
Meet and greet doesn't mean like you're going home with that dog.
No, you're just meeting the dog. So you're literally we're meeting them, making sure they're not serial killers, that they're trying to take my dog for something weird.
You can't have this dog.
So and then same with them. Like sometimes they just want to meet the dog, and then they're like, oh, we didn't jive right away. Fine. So we do the meet and greet. We all think about it. If they want to follow up, they write us and say like, we want to do next steps, and that basically means we then set up a trial period, which is kind of like, some call it foster to adopt. We just do like a week trial. So they have a week with the dog to like let it get adjusted. Again, if they're going to work with the dog, they can see how the dog does at work environment, like if they can't take the dog to work, how it does when it's alone by itself, right? Just stuff like that, and getting used to that person. And, and it also takes dogs a little bit to come out of their shell. Oh, geez. Sorry. It's like they get to a new place after they just came out and got comfortable in a foster environment, and now they have to adjust to a whole new person. Yeah. So we give them time, and again, not all dogs are like that. Some are literally just will move right in and be like, great. And others are like, and others are like, okay, I need a little time. So usually by a week, then we know. And again, some people call me literally the next morning and are like, I had this dog one night, I'm never giving it back. This is my dog. I want to go. I want to make it official.
That's me.
And then they just make it official, and we send them the adoption agreement. We get like a photo. There is an adoption fee, and again, every rescue is a different adoption fee, and ours goes right back into the dogs and to future dogs. So, and some dogs, like, to be completely transparent, some dogs we make a little extra money, which is great because it goes towards other dogs, and sometimes we don't, because we had a dog who was a puppy, and we ended up spending like $20,000 on him this summer. Clearly when his adoption fee, we can't ask for $20,000. Yeah. Wow. So we're never going to make that back, and that's okay. And so we just kind of like make it up with like donations. We have events, we have fundraisers, and that's just how you kind of keep it going. Yeah. So
yeah, that's one thing I feel like a lot of people don't understand about the adoption fee. It's not like you guys are just pocketing the money. Right. Like, for example, my dog had really bad dental damage, so he had a way higher vet fee than some of your other dogs who may not have anything.
Right.
So
exactly,
your adoption fee is going to help other dogs no matter what. Like, it's all for the good of the rescue and saving animals.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
How can people who want to find reputable foster agencies, like you said, you have Instagram. Do you think Instagram is a good way to find it, or what are some resources for people to find it in their area?
I guess it just depends on their city, because every city is different with like rescue resources. Like, I'm not sure, because
I know for us, like, it was Pet Finder, and not going through Pet Finder, but then like finding the rescues and then going to their Instagram and seeing like what people have commented, what people have written, what people have tagged them in. Right. So,
but then there's obviously good rescues that don't even have Instagrams.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think, especially in like small towns, like, that's the thing. We at least were lucky that we live in LA, and like when I started this rescue, that was kind of my point, is I felt like a lot of people I know in rescue are older generation, and like that's so fine, but they're not in that world. Yeah. And so they're like, the pictures aren't that great. Like, you're not really selling them the same.
They're not active. Like, yours is so cute and fun to follow. I'm just like,
everyone falls in love with the dogs. Like, each dog you adopt from Maeday probably already has a built-in fan base.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of amazing. I hear all the time. I think maybe, did you say this? Somebody did recently, but they like took their dog to like Santa Monica Pier, like a foster, and some stranger walked up and they're like,
"Isn't that you?
Yeah, is that Olive?" Like, somebody's literally, people will walk up and be like, or I have a tote bag that says "Save a Dog." That's one of the things we sell, and I can have it, and people will walk up and be like, "Are you with Maeday?"
That was me.
What? And people just know us.
I saw you at an audition, and I was like,
that's right.
Are you with Maeday?
That's right. People just, which is amazing. Yeah. So, but so I think in other towns, I would say either or going to like their local shelter and asking what rescues do you work with, because there's like really reputable ones that clearly the shelters trust and they've worked with for years. Right. And just know if it works for you, because again, everybody's different. Like, I'm sure some people have met me and are like, I don't want to work with her. Fine, that's okay with me. Like, that's fine. And then people, jive better with other people, and like that's okay. Yeah. So just like see how they work. And some people don't like that we do trials because they feel like it like lets them set up to give the dog back, but like I want to be completely transparent. So
but if you don't
but if you don't, then they just adopt outright. Yeah. But some people are just used to a different kind of thing, you know. Other people have bigger teams. I don't. So like it's literally me, which means sometimes things fall through the cracks. But that happens. And so, so again, it just depends if you want to work with somebody bigger, you know, it's like with anything. So just kind of do your research, I'd say. But
and ask around.
And I mean, I think obviously hashtags, like we try to do like, you know, Rescue Dog LA. And I think once you start going down the rabbit hole, or you search for something, and then things are going to suggest stuff. Yeah. And then but I think you're right, like seeing who else follows them, seeing, because so I think a lot of nonprofits, unfortunately, like we're not like social. On Yelp, so you can't really. But
Yelp for dogs would be amazing.
Yeah,
I would never get any work done. Just be like, so if someone's watching this and they're super jazzed and they really want to adopt a dog or rescue it from a shelter, what are some steps that they can prepare that they know, like to pick the right dog for them, for their lifestyle? What can they do?
I mean, they need to be realistic about like what they can handle. Yeah. Because again, I think that's it. People are like, I just want that cute white fluffy puppy I saw. But if you work 8-hour days and you can't take your dog to work, like that's not realistic.
Probably not get a puppy.
Right. Don't get a puppy. So just be realistic about that. And then just I think do your research, like you said, and then obviously like get ready, like get supplies and see what they need, and also just learn about the breed, which is why I love mutts, because they're generally like pretty even keel and amazing. Because like again, if you want like a border collie, like
they're gonna have
obviously be athletic, like don't get it, and have space.
Very specific requirements for certain breeds.
Right. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about Maeday and how and why you started it?
Yes. So first off, I was totally, which actually this is like legit, like before I even started Maeday, I actually didn't really know what fostering was. I kind of was like a little confused about that, and like even same thing, like my dog at the time was from the shelter, but I was kind of snobby and just thought she was the best, which she was, but I just didn't really get like why would I have another dog come into our space, and like that's gonna make her uncomfortable and she's gonna have to share, so like I actually didn't really understand it. And I was working for a company at the time that we were doing like, it was like a travel company where you volunteered and like gave back to the community. So we were working with a shelter in Mexico, and it was the first trip they ever did. And this dog came up to me and was like, wanted to be my best friend. And the company basically said, if anyone wants to take a dog from Mexico, we'll pay for them. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll take this dog and like foster it. But like, I don't really know, like I'm just watching it till like, I can just find a friend to take it. Sure. Okay. So I didn't really know, and there was no rescue back at me. Like I was going to be just feeding my dog's food, you know, that food. And so I took her back. And then literally 2 weeks later, I drove her and my dog, Maggie May, to San Diego to like visit some friends. And on the way back, a kid lost control on the freeway and hit my car head on, and my car rolled and landed upside down. And when I pulled myself out, the dogs were just gone. Like they just like literally disappeared.
Oh my God.
I also thought I was like crazy. Like, you know, for a second, like I was bleeding. Like I didn't know where I was bleeding from. I was clearly like hysterical and like really disoriented. So at first I was like, wait, did I have the dogs? Like maybe I didn't. And then like I saw dog food all over the roads. Of course I was like, I had totally had the dogs. So I was rushed to the emergency room, and like, but it was such an experience for me because clearly, you know, again, I'm an animal person, so obviously it's different for me, but like if it was a child, like the freeway would have closed down. But since it's a dog, people just kept being like, ma'am, we need to get you to the hospital. And I get that, and I get that's their job, but I just kept being like, but we're on a freeway and my 2 dogs are running. Like, I don't know where they're running. I don't know if they were thrown. I don't know if they have a head injury. Like, are they laying in the intersection? Like,
oh my God.
I have no idea, you know? And like,
no way.
Nobody would do like, why would they do anything? You know, like what are they going to do?
They don't
So I thankfully I was just on a show on Showtime. And so I had a pretty big following at the time, and like my show just came out. So which was amazing, it was before Instagram. So like Facebook was still a thing, and the Facebook community was like amazing because one flyer went out and suddenly it was shared so much that I just had like that next week, I had volunteers, like strangers who were like, and again, I was driving back from San Diego and I'd only lived in LA for a year. So like I didn't really understand Orange County. So I didn't know where I was. And I was like, what's it called? Capistrano.
San Juan Capistrano.
Yeah, San Juan Capistrano, like right around that area. So again, I was like, I don't know where I am. And I had a friend that lived in Aliso Viejo, so we were able to stay with her while we were searching. But I had like hundreds of volunteers that just saw the post and would be like, I'm free for the day, I'll come look for the dogs. And it was a really like just interesting experience. So I learned so much in that process. And then I learned about the animal community. Like rescuers were tagged. There were people who were like, I've been a rescuer for 20 years and I have dog trapping cages that like I can put them in these spots in like Orange County and like know how to get them and like lure them. And this is how this works. And so I just started meeting people in that community through that experience. And then we found my foster dog first, Pistache, who I still have now, which again, obviously she was a foster, but then once I found her, I wasn't going to be like, bye, hope you find a home. You're with me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So we found her first, which was interesting because she was on the streets of Mexico before she came to the shelter. So in Mexico, obviously. But
what a life Pistache has lived.
She's had a great life, but she was living, on the street. So she kind of knew how to take care of herself. Yeah. So when we found her, she literally had this it was really interesting. It was the whole, I could go into the story, it was a very long story, but the way we found her was obviously there was a lot of spiritual stuff for me, and there were psychics calling, which was weird because they just wanted to volunteer. But I almost realized there was one psychic who called and was basically describing where I was, and I realized she was reading that, but because I was turning around, I was like, yeah, I see an aqueduct, and she's like, yeah, it's right there. I was like, no, I'm right here. The dog, not me. I'm so confused. Wow. But so a lot of things led me to this, but somebody saw their dog was barking at something in their back area, and so we went and put that cage there. And at this point I was focused on Maggie because she was literally my life. I got her when I was 18. I moved with her from Albuquerque.
No way.
She was my baby.
And how
everything.
old were you at the time when
I was 24? Wait, how old am I now? 32. Yeah, it was 8 years ago. It was 2010. So yeah, it was 24.
Had her for
so I had her for 5 years.
Formational 20s.
Yeah, she went everywhere with me, college, moving here. She was everything. And my show I did, she was in my show because it was a travel vlog online series. So she was in all of it. So it was she was everything. So that's who I was focused on. So we were really I'm going to find her. The Mexico dog was so social. I was I'm sure somebody picked her up. She's great. Yeah. So we put this cage out, and the second before we left the cage, the sun was going down. All of a sudden, Maria, who's my wife, and my wife now, she wasn't at the time, we were still it was the beginning of our relationship, she from the corner of her eye sees something crawling on the ground, and it's Pistache, the Mexico dog, and it was almost something pushed her out to be this is your last chance, get out there. Oh, so she was crawling on her belly, and Maria just picked her up, and it was almost she was not the dog, she didn't even her soul wasn't in her body yet or something, she was just a shell of a dog, and shaking, and but looked fine. And then we looked where she was living, she had a dead bunny and watermelon, she knew what was up. And then as the sun was going down, she started digging this crazy hole frantically, kind of around us, and laid in it so low so she could get low. And I was like, this is totally how she's been surviving. And she stunk really bad, which apparently is a thing. She was rolling on dead animals to protect herself and get the smell away. So she'd smell like a dead animal versus I don't know, but crazy. So she total survivor. So we found her, and then we finally found Maggie a few days later, and she was hit on a train track and wasn't pretty. And that was a whole thing too. That was very, very difficult for me, obviously, because I did find her, and clearly you're going through so many things. I kept thinking, what if somebody picked her up and drove her to Malibu? You don't even know if she's in the area. You don't know if she had a head injury. Is she suffering in a bush? But I was I'm never not gonna stop looking. Right. I pictured myself literally being on the beach till I was 50 with flyers, because I was I have to know. She's my baby. I'm not gonna stop looking for. I need an answer. So she was hit by a train, and we found her body, and that was it was horrible. And so Maggie Maeday has the name. So she's in the logo with the one ear up, one ear down.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. So and then it just kind of. Yeah.
I'm I can't cry because I've cried 3 times on the show. So I was think about something else.
Yeah. You found her You found her there, you were the one. I can't imagine coming upon her.
No, it was awful. And obviously, you're again, I never even really saw a dead body, besides my grandma. So I didn't really know, and what it does to you when you're dead. She was bloated from gases, and so she looked bigger than she was. So I was kind of confused, and and when you're hit by a train, you're kind of skinned. So she wasn't the same color, and I was just but I knew it was her, but I still was just that's not her. It was just I just didn't understand. And again, we were it sounds crazy, but I really feel she was my spirit animal. We were very, very like we just have this connection. So I just didn't understand. I was like, she's always with me. So like, why would she leave? So that's why I was like, she has to have like an injury, because like she wouldn't leave me. Like she's looking for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I have to go to her. But yeah, it was like crazy. And that morning I was actually by the train tracks, but on the river, sitting on this bench. We woke up, I went there at like 4 a.m. because I suddenly realized maybe I'm moving too much and like looking for her. I should just sit
and be
and just like she can find me. Yeah. And then I like fell asleep on this bench and woke up, and people were out flying. And so like I woke up and there was literally this seagull like right here, like at me, staring at me. And I was like, oh, do you have a hurt wing? Because I don't have time. Like, I'm really busy. And it just like kept squawking at me. And then it flew across the river where the train tracks were and was just like staring at me. And I literally was like, I don't know what you want. Like I didn't get it.
That's crazy.
And then literally that evening, I went there, and that's exactly where that like seagull was, like telling me, because I kept telling Maggie, I was like, go to somebody who's gonna like bring me to you, like just like find somebody you can trust.
I so believe.
And the seagull was literally like, yo, I'm right here.
Yeah,
like come get her. And
You're
like
so
it literally
intuitive.
took me. Yeah, I mean, I was trying, but also then that's the thing. Like, you don't know if it's your gut. You don't know if you're being crazy. I had no sleep. I had a broken wrist. Like, I was throwing up from Vicodin every day.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things and loss, and you don't know what's true.
Of finding your dogs like made you want to start your own rescue.
Yes, and so then I basically, not right away, but since I was in like TV and film, I enjoyed doing that. But like moving to LA, and it just felt so, it just didn't seem to matter anymore. And so I tried to do a few things after, but I was kind of a wreck. Like I basically like lost my mind on a red carpet where I was like, I don't care what you're wearing. Like it doesn't matter. Like I was so upset. I was like, there's a bigger picture in the world.
Yeah.
Who cares about your outfit?
Near-death experience.
Yeah. And I like literally was like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So and then I was like off of work forever because like my wrist had all these surgeries and it was just like a thing. And so I basically started fostering because I was now off of work and I only had Pistache. And since I met all these rescue people, they actually started tagging me on Facebook things. Wow. So I was like, oh, I could take these two bonded seniors where their owner died.
Yeah.
Because at that point I was very like any near-death experience for anyone. And this guy like died kind of young. And then he had these two dogs that like they had no family and they were bonded. So I was like, I'll take them.
Yeah.
Because obviously that was like really touched close to me. And so I took those two dogs, and then it basically just kind of snowballed. And then I just started being like, wait, fostering's great. And then I just kept fostering and learned so much about it.
It's an incredible story because it's really like you following your soul's calling. It wasn't anything like artificial. Like, like this is like an Oprah story. For real. It's all
hey
people.
Oprah.
Call her. She watches the vegan show.
These are Oprah people, guys.
We're trying really hard.
Yeah.
But no, really, it's really...
Thanks, yeah.
It's a soul calling.
Yeah, it is. And I'm still, I mean, obviously everybody's like on a journey. Because now it's like, now that it's been 8 years, like I miss being in TV and film. And so like I'm doing more stuff now and all of that. But like I'm trying to find the balance of how to like still do animal work. And, and so it's great because Mayday's become super successful. It's a nonprofit, but obviously it's a nonprofit that rescues animals. So like it's not like it's going to make millions of dollars, and that's not the point of it. But at the end of the day, I need to eat. Yeah. So I need an actual job. But the nonprofit takes up all my time. So I'm trying to like still balance the two. And but yeah, so that definitely was my journey, which I feel so grateful for because honestly, Maggie was that animal for me that I was like, she did that. Like if Pistache would have died, I didn't really know her, and it would have just been a sad story, but it would have been totally different. Like, because Maggie died, I literally was like, I have to save so many dogs because I feel like I'm saving her again or something. So every dog I save, I'm like, I'm helping Maggie. So yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is incredible.
Well, and do you know how many you've saved now? Do you have a number? It's like insane compared to when I adopted Archie and now 4 years later. I know it's like...
I mean, I don't know. We might have hit 1,000, but we're close. Like, I mean, hundreds, like almost 1,000. I mean... Yeah, that's probably. Crazy. But again, I couldn't do it without fosters because we don't have a space. So like, I can't obviously have 30,000 dogs in my house. So,
but you rallied these people. Yeah, like you rallied good human beings.
But honestly, social media, it's kind of crazy because it's like who you attract on there. Like I'm not targeting people I'd hang out with, and then yet all of my friends, like my actual close friends, I met from like them filling out a foster application. And now we're like best friends. And I'm like, I'd call it like you're going to be my family forever. And it's kind of cool that like animals bring you together in that way. Totally. And that social media is just like a cool platform like that. Like strangers who I've literally been like in emergencies are like, I'll come to your house right now and help. And I'm like, oh, do I want this stranger? And then they come and they're like super awesome. And I'm like, wait, let's be best friends.
Yeah, I think people tend to lose sight of what social media is when they're not doing what their soul's purpose is.
Yeah, totally. Because you can get lost in it. And obviously, I get lost in it. I look at like stupid stuff and go through a rabbit hole, or go through somebody I used to date, and now I'm like, wait, why am I 5 X's in of their person and judging this one person? Like, what am I doing?
Their cousin.
Right. I'm like, I'm so stupid. Like, what's happening?
You're like, okay, I need to go back to my purpose.
Right.
Back to my
and then I look at my kittens I'm fostering, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that story with us. I almost cried. I pretty much cried.
That's how you cry.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. But I would love to share with our viewers how they can support Maeday if they are interested. So what ways can they get involved?
Obviously fostering, as we discussed. If you live in the local LA area, you can fill out a foster application. We also have adoption events all the time. So, I mean, the main way is get on our Instagram, and then, which is just Maeday Rescue, M-A-E-D-A-Y, Rescue. Because you can see about like adoption events. Like, you don't have to adopt to come to an event. I think people think that. But we have a lot of merchandise that we sell that literally just 100% goes back to the rescue. So it helps us with like dog medical bills, spay and neutering, shots, vet care, like, grooming, anything. And we have everything from shirts. Do you want to see some?
Yeah.
Well, first off, we have this is my tote bag, so it's dirty, but it's a Save a Dog tote bag.
So cute.
And we have lots of different sayings. We have one that says, oh my God, Becky, look at that mutt.
Oh.
Get it? Get it? If you're too young, sorry. But, and then we've got like different sweatshirts. This one's not on our site yet because I just got it. So you can only get this at events.
Cute.
But it's embroidered Save a Dog. These come in different colors. So we obviously have a website. So same thing, maydayrescue.com. And you can buy all of these. We have embroidered t-shirts, Save a Dog. We also have others that say trust your mutt, like trust your gut if you trust your mutt. And like pins, which I don't have any of those with me. Oh, got keychains. This is my actual keys, so don't want to show you things, but Save a Dog keychains. We've got little dog pins, like enamel ones for like jean jackets, and different types of t-shirts and all that thing. So so any of that literally goes right to the dog. So you get to look cute, fashionable, and literally help animals.
That's awesome.
Or just donate directly, obviously, if you want to help, because
nice.
Yes.
And definitely follow her on Instagram, because I've been following her for a while, just like looking at dogs.
So many cute dogs.
Who doesn't want a random dog just coming up in their feed? That's adorable.
It's true. We're suddenly getting cats, which is random. So if you like cats, it's not only dogs. Like, we have a litter of kittens right now, and they're real fuzzy and real cute.
They're really cute.
And also, you have the funniest cat in the world, Douglas, who
Douglas is the funniest name
loves
for a
dogs.
cat.
And grooms them.
Douglas the Gato grooms cats. He also has his own Instagram. He's almost at 10,000 followers, so you should probably follow him.
You should definitely follow him.
If you're the 10,000 follower, maybe you'll get a signed Douglas
photo.
He'll show it. He'll send you. I'm doing it right now. He would totally do that.
I'm like, damn it, I'm already following him.
You like unfollow him, like wait and follow him.
Random strangers have written me from like England asking what he wants for Christmas and the address because they want to send him presents.
That's amazing.
Why are people so amazing?
They're so amazing.
So
I mean, and Douglas is the best, but he is kind of an asshole, so it's also funny that everyone loves him.
I love that. That's like a cat.
Yeah,
he's totally a cat thing. Yeah.
Of all the asshole cats, he's like the best.
Yes, it's true. Thank you. I agree. Yes. So follow him. Follow Maeday.
We will put all of Mayday's information in the description box where you can find her Instagram. You can also get the merch. We'll put all of that there. We also have our individual channels and our Facebook group. So if you haven't been following us on Facebook, make sure you check that out because we have lots of these types of discussions there throughout the week. And we will see you guys back here on Monday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.